Hey guys, so this is a kind of a quick review of the Gaplus PCB. It's more than 20 years old. I got it through Yahoo auctions here in Japan. The seller said it worked, but it didn't work when I got it. I didn't expect it to work, being my first PCB, Jama PCB. So when I connected it to the Sigma, in the beginning, if I was lucky, it gave like a quick image of the game, and then it kept jumping. So I figured out the ROM was working, the memory part was working, and then again I have no experience almost from with PCBs. So I was assuming that the first thing to do is change the capacitors, and there were very few. There was one here and 4 here, so 5 in total. So that's the easiest thing to do, even though I never actually changed capacitors on a PCB. I went into Akihabara and got the numbers from the old ones and got exactly the same ones but new. And it took me half an hour, and I changed all of them. So first one, I changed this one. This one is I think 16 volt, 25 volt by 470, and another one here. And still there was no change in the condition of the PCB. However, I found out that it was difficult to wire to the PCB because either it's old and the holes are very small. It's very hard to catch a good connection when working with a hot wire. But with some persistency you can do it. And I don't know if the old capacitors will ever change, but considering their size, they're pretty big, a lot bigger than the new school capacitors, so I think they will never change in a long time. And then I went to the third one, this one. Well, you see, these are the old one, for example, the 470, and it's like more than, oh shit. Well, my point is, it's almost twice the size. So yeah, it wasn't changing in a long time. So when I went to the third one, it was the most cumbersome one. It was a 2.2 Faraday by 25. Pretty strange, but I ended up finding it. Couldn't find it in one store, and when I changed it immediately, the PCB worked properly. So I was really happy. And then I changed the last one, which is the smallest one. It's a tiny one, and it was the hardest to weld, to attach, I mean, to the PCB, but I ended up doing it, and after half an hour, 40 minutes, it was all finished. So the PCB worked. You have here the dip switches. First one, there's 2 sets. The first one deals with stuff like how many ships you get. Some of them are inactive, some of them is credits, I think. And the second one, first switch gives you test mode, which only lets you test music, tells you the condition of the system, usual stuff, and again some more credit stuff. A little option about the sound. When you get a certain special weapon that you collect other enemies, if it makes sound or not, it's pretty cool. So yeah, this board is more than 20 years old. I'm going to give you more background in the gameplay. It came with a harness, special harness that adapts from Konami. Konami has like a special, you have to kind of like tap some of the power lines and put them somewhere on the PCB. So Konami, so this came with like a harness that, you see, there's a connection here. This is where it connects to my normal drama harness. So then goes to the Sigma. So yeah, it's a good experience to see. Oh, another thing, there's a reset button here and internal volume. This is the output volume, so I guess it's got an amplifier in it. This is probably the sound chip with usually the heatsink. It's near the sound chip, I guess. So yeah, I didn't have sound, and immediately when I changed the capacitors, the sound came back perfectly. So no problem. It's so fragile and old. I'm working on designing an encasing, a little bit like you can see with the Sync Strike, kind of like plexiglass. encasing, so I'm gonna make it as soon as possible to enclose it before something fucks up. I'm so clumsy, and I have a baby and a cat, and it's so tight in here, so I gotta keep it real. Now the only issue with this, that something I didn't hear about, is that this PCB only works in the opposite 90-degree tate mode than usually Saturn games and Dreamcast games and Xbox games are new school, so you can rotate them any way you want, but older tate games only turn certain degrees, and the Namco, some of them or all of them, turn the other way around, so I had to turn my Ikigami just for the sake of this game. But it was worthwhile. I mean, I had to check it out. I know the only remedy, if anybody has an idea how to remedy this situation, I couldn't find on a test mode an option to rotate the image. So if anybody has a remedy, but I looked on the internet and there's not much information about it, only doing the yoke thing on the TV, which I really don't want to do. So if anybody has a remedy how to rotate a game in 90 degrees to the opposite, let me know, especially if again Harris, you're the expert. So that was the only issue, but the game is so sweet. It's a Galaga on crack. Hello, so now we're gonna take a quick look at the game. This is just a gameplay I did for sake of capturing the images. So it's not any sort of real gameplay in any shape or form, but it's my experiences with Galaga 88, and this game brings a lot more layers of gameplay and possibilities, which is really cool. I mean, the most obvious fact is that your ship can move up and down along the bottom third of the screen, which changed a lot of the strategy of the game. And like you can see, upgrades. This one in particular lets you scoop other your enemies, and use them as sidekicks. But later in the game, you get different type of upgrades. So and they're pretty original. There's like a corkscrew, and some multiple lasers. Otherwise, you can pick up other pieces of ships, specific pieces that if you pick 3 of them, you get another life. So this game is pretty different. It's a lot more, it's more complex than Galaga 88, I would say. I made it all the way to Parsec 14 in this gameplay. I'm gonna die on the 4th Parsec. A stage is called Parsec in this game. The 4th Parsec is notoriously difficult. This is a bonus stage. It's pretty cool. Look at that. You get those little. There's 3 waves of enemies, and you can bounce them. Every time you bounce them, you get another pixel to compose a word. And if you finish that word, you can keep bouncing them, and you get special bonuses. So this is the 2nd wave. Then more times you make them jump, the faster they get. So this is now the 3rd wave. It's really cool. I really like it. That it gives you like a little break off the normal game, and lets you have a side game. It's really cool. Really like the aesthetics of Namco. Their aesthetic style get carried between games, and it shows, very Pac-Man-ish. It stays a true classic. So this part is number 4, and it's pretty difficult. I just played this game for the first time in my life today, so sorry for the shitty gameplay. But the parsecs that come afterwards are very varied and pretty varied, and easier than this one, but it gets difficult, obviously. And dip switches let you change, all the parameters of how many credits you get and extensions and everything. But it's better to keep it normal, flat normal, the way you would do when you go to the arcade parlor. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, sharing the excitement of video gaming, retro video gaming. I'll get you guys soon.